Morning, members. Can I please remind you to ensure mobile phones and other devices are on silent, that banners, etc. are not permitted, and members of the public are not allowed to address the meeting, to use the microphones which are available when addressing the meeting, and that you may be filmed or recorded during this meeting. Thank you. Thank you for being upstanding for the chairman.
Good morning, members. Can I ask my chaplain, Reverend Ross Olding, to lead the prayers, please?
Let's pray. Father God, Almighty, uncreated Creator, we thank you again for the privilege to serve in this place and for the opportunity to serve the people of Nottinghamshire. We acknowledge your sovereignty over this council, this county, and this country, and every life we represent. Lord, we welcome you into this meeting by your Holy Spirit. We ask for your guidance in today's discussions. May we seek your direction in every matter at hand and not rely on our own wisdom alone. We pray for a spirit of unity, that even in our differences we can find shared goals and purposes. We pray for grace, truth and courage, that they will be used in good measure. May every councillor in this place be equipped to speak with boldness, integrity and clarity, whilst serving with humility, grace and courage. We ask that you would bless this land, that Nottinghamshire would flourish and its residents would know your blessing. May this council be a place where service, integrity, grace and accountability, humility, honesty and good leadership are at the centre of all the decisions made for the well-being of all. We commit this meeting into your hands and we declare that your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. We ask this in your name. Amen.
Please be seated. I would like to start by thanking members for a successful council meeting in September. And I look forward to today's meeting, carrying on in the same way. I expect you all to be courteous, respectful, and not interrupt each other when speaking. I will be taking the same approach as last time in relation to points of order and points of clarification. Thank you, everyone. Item 1. I ask Council to approve the minutes of the previous meeting. So all those in favour? Any against? Any abstentions? Item 2. Apologies for absence. I will now ask each group to provide any apologies. Please ensure reasons for any apology are also provided. Councillor Martin Wright. Councillor, sorry.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. I have 3 apologies today. Councillors Darrington, Lowe and Saban, and it's all for other reasons. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Wheeler. do you have any apologies?
Yeah, thank you, Chairman. I've got 3 apologies. Councillor Barlow, Cotty and Pearson for other reasons, and Councillor Gurning will be late as he's attending a funeral. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Clooney, do you have any apologies?
Thank you, Madam Chair. We're all here this morning. Councillor Clark has to leave over the lunch period for other reasons. Thank you.
Thank you. And finally, Councillor Carr, do you have any apologies?
Thank you, Madam. No apologies, Madam Chairman. Thank you.
Item 3, declarations of interest. If any councillor or officer has an interest in any matter on the agenda, you should declare it now. Please raise your hand now if you have an interest to declare. When called to speak, you should state what type of interest it is and give brief details. Item 4, Chairman's business. The UNICEF Baby Friendly Initiative Gold Award. Councillor Rory Green, can I ask you to introduce the award, please?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good morning, everyone. It's good to see you all. What a lovely thing to do. We are so proud of our family hubs, which are so vital of that early prevention support for all of our families across the county. This lovely award is to all of the staff and their hard work. That should be rightly recognised. I kind of call it the Champions League version of, forgive me for those who don't like football, but the Champions League version of standard. And we're so proud and grateful to have such a beautiful lot of human beings that want to help mothers in that vital earlier stage. For those who don't know what it is, I'll be vulnerable for 2 reasons. First, being as a bloke, I felt it was a bit shaky territory for a bloke to speak on such matters, but my colleague, Councillor Justice, as a female, said it's all right. Secondarily, I didn't actually know what it were until I come into this role, so I'm just going to quickly read through the importance of what this is to give some more context. So this initiative was introduced in 1994. It's the Baby Friendly Initiative, and it works with the UK Public Services to support families with infant feeding and developing those close, loving relationships so that all babies can get that best possible start to life. The Baby Friendly Programme operates as part of a wider global partnership, hence the UNICEF was mentioned earlier. In the UK, the programme supports maternity, neonatal, community and hospital-based children's services to transform their care with universities as well to ensure that newly qualified midwives and health visitors have strong foundation knowledge needed to support those families. Family Hub services form a key part of the community offer. So investing in maintaining the Family Hub service of the UNICEF BFI accreditation links directly into the aspiration for the Nottinghamshire child to have the best start, as I mentioned earlier. The baby-friendly standards are designed to encourage and guide services to provide parents with the best possible care, to build close and loving relationships, and to feed, crucially, their babies in ways which will support optimum health and development. When all the stages are passed through this process, it can take a number of years, and following the initial Gold Award, I don't know if that was a hint or not to start, but I'll carry on because we need to do it justice. Following the initial Gold Award, a deep dive revalidation is carried out by UNICEF UK by an assessor at year 4. So it consists of a whole lot of processes. It's almost like an Ofsted report, essentially. And today, what we want to do in a culture of honouring our staff is to present the award, and it's my honour, really. So, yeah, I'd like to do so by inviting forward 2 lovely ladies, Diane and Rachel, but that would be your job, I think, by the look you're giving me, so I'm going to be quiet. Thank you.
Well, To begin with, I am very impressed to hear of the wonderful work of the Council's Family Hub service. Breastfeeding can be challenging for many parents, and I'm thrilled that families in Nottinghamshire receive a gold standard service. I would now like to invite Diane Tinkling, Early Childhood Commissioning and Projects Manager, and Rachel Ligo, Family Hub Service Manager, together with Councillor Green, to come up to the dais. I'm going to give you a few snippets about some of the work that I do as chairman, which basically means working with a vast number of people, and it's joyful. Believe me, there's so many good things happening in our county. And I am thinking that some of my paperwork. I'll start off telling you about the opening of Goose Fair. And it was a very special day. It was a momentous occasion in so many ways. And as you probably all know, the fair has a history spanning over 700 years. And believe me, it's still going strong for those of you that don't frequent fairs. And I'm sure it's still going strong, and it will continue to do so. It was a very memorable day for all the dignitaries and visitors who enjoyed joining in the fun of the fair. And it was featuring 350 rides. I didn't go on 350 rides, by the way. I just went on about 4, which was enough for me, and got stuck on one of them. The food stalls were fantastic, and there were so many more attractions. It drew in thousands of people, and I'm sure it made an awful lot of money for the counties. So item 2, this is talking about my home territory in Stapleford. So very close to my home was the official opening, and I was invited there. to Hickings Lane Community Pavilion in Stapleford. The opening ceremony took place and marked 4 years of community engagement, design and construction. And there really is something for everyone there. We have a community cafe, a health hub gym, a preschool nursery, 5 bookable multi-use event and activity rooms, cutting-edge 3G sport pitches and changing rooms, especially for the Stephen Gerrard Academy boys. And what's more, the project was partially funded through the £21 million Towns Fund, so we were very lucky. Moving on now to the remembrance services, which I'm sure most of you attended. So on Sunday, on the 9th of November, I was invited to take part in the Nottingham City Council's annual service of remembrance and thanksgiving at the City War Memorial on Victoria Embankment. Despite it being a freezing cold day, a huge crowd had gathered to pay their respects and to participate in honouring the sacrifice made by so many. And I think these occasions are so very important in our time, because we must never forget. Moving forward to the 11th of November, Armistice Day ceremony was held here at County Hall. Deputy Lieutenant representing the Royal British Legion started the ceremony with a few words, followed by Council Leader Mick Barton, who is also an esteemed member of the Royal British Legion. In all, it was a moving ceremony, beautifully orchestrated, and a fitting homage to the fallen. Again, it was a very moving ceremony. I was delighted to be there, and whilst not, I was delighted to be able to be there and take part within the service. Now, I don't know how many of you know about the National Rehabilitation Centre, but if you don't know, I'm going to tell you a little bit about its history, because I was, again, privileged enough to be invited there. And the Rehabilitation Centre, or facility, is located on the Stanford Hall estate between Nottingham and Loughborough. It's very close to the Defence Medical Rehabilitation Centre, the DMRC, also on the estate. The 70-bed facility will bring together research, innovation, education and training alongside clinical practice to drive excellence in rehabilitation. Can you just excuse me, folks? I need to have a drink of water. So where was I? The land for the National Rehabilitation Centre was purchased by the 6th Duke of Westminster, Gerald Grosvenor, in 2011. He purchased the entire Stanford Hall Rehabilitation Estate specifically to co-locate both a Defence Medical Rehabilitation Centre and a National Rehabilitation Centre for NHS patients. The Duke, who died in 2016, also helped to raise £300 million for the overall project, contributing a significant portion of his own funds, and his family to this day, including the 7th Duke of Westminster, continue to support the initiative. Plans for a specialist facility to help people recover from serious injuries and illnesses have been years in the making. And health bosses want the 70-bed rehab centre to be the blueprint for the way the care is delivered across the NHS. And that would be wonderful if we could implement that or help. Miriam Duffy, the director of the NRC, said the opening of the facility will open a new era in recovery treatment. The former physiotherapist said the NHS does not currently have enough capacity to rehabilitate everybody who needs it. And she hopes the centre, which has an equivalent of 200 full-time workforce, will change that. And I, amongst many others, look forward to the opening of this remarkable facility and watch this space. It really is an amazing place to be. There is everything there. And if you have the opportunity, I would urge you to go around and see for yourself, because it's marvellous and it's going to do so much good for everyone. So please put that on your wish list. Finally, I want to talk to you about, if you don't already know about it, the Nottingham Roosevelt Memorial Travelling Scholarship, which was established in 1946. I would like to draw members' attention to the outstanding contribution of the Nottingham Roosevelt Memorial Travelling Scholarship, which for decades has enabled young people between the ages of 21 and 35 from Nottinghamshire to undertake fully funded, self-directed projects in the United States. This unique opportunity equips future leaders with new skills, professional insights, and international experience that they can bring back to benefit their employers, our local economy, and our wider communities. With more than 190 scholars to date, many of whom have gone on to make significant contributions in business, public service, and social impact, the scholarship is a proven driver of personal development, innovation, and long-term values for Nottinghamshire. As members, I would ask that you each take on a small responsibility to champion the scheme locally and encourage potential applicants. Oh, I thought you wanted to speak. It's okay. The broader the field of candidate, the greater the potential for securing more scholarships and maximising the benefits returned to Nottinghamshire. And in the new year, I've invited Mark Goldie, who is chairman and one of the trustees, to meet with us at County Hall. So it will be an opportunity to unlocking the potential for 21 to 35-year-olds who would be interested in actually taking up this offer. I think that's it, folks. We'll now go back to the agenda. Just to let you know, folks, that we'll be breaking for lunch at approximately 12:30 today. Do you want to introduce them? Item 5. Constituency issues, item 5. This item gives members who have previously given notice by the deadline the opportunity to speak for up to 3 minutes on any particular matter relevant to their constituencies or any particular issues arising in their electoral division, which is relevant to the services provided by the County Council. This is an opportunity simply to air these issues in the council meeting. It will not give rise to a debate on the issues or a question and answer session. Members are reminded that there is a maximum time limit of 15 minutes for this item on the agenda, and each member may only speak for a maximum of 3 minutes. Any speech is not heard in the time limit will fail and can be submitted again at a future meeting. We have 8 speeches today. I call on Councillor Upton to speak regarding future and current closure of the Greenway for Rushcliffe Cotgrave Country Park. Councillor Upton to speak.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. I take this opportunity to ask for a decision on the ongoing closure of part of the Radcliffe-on-Trent to Cotgrave Country Park Greenway. Back on 9th of April 2019, a new 3-kilometre off-road greenway walk for walkers, cyclists and horse riders between Radcliffe-on-Trent and Cotgrave Country Park was opened on the former disused single-track mineral railway line to Cotgrave Colliery at a cost of £250,000. It has proved to be an extremely popular route for residents and for people from a wider area, with links to a network of footpaths, cycle and bridle ways, including the Grantham Canal, the National Cycleway number 15, and the Nottingham Wildlife Trust Skylarks Nature Reserve. Yet just 5 years later, in January 2024, a section between Home Lane, Radcliffe to Stragglethorpe Road was closed as it was dangerous and unstable due to unauthorised damage done to part of the embankment at the rear of the Cedar Lodge Travellers site on the A52. This section will soon have been closed for 2 years, with no indication from the County Council as to when and if it will be repaired, despite repeated requests from myself and the local MP. I was told that options would be considered and a decision would be made early this year, yet recently at a meeting at County Hall with senior property officers, I was told that no decision has been made. I've been told that to reinstate the damaged section of the embankment would be very expensive, but I'm concerned that we don't over-engineer the repair. The continuing uncertainty about the future of this section of the Greenway is totally unacceptable to residents and other users of this popular route. And my point is, when will the County Council make a decision? Thank you, Chair.
I now call on Councillor Doddy to speak regarding flood defence mechanisms in trial.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm delighted to inform you that I will not breach the 3-minute mark today. I stand up very briefly to do 2 things. Normally, when I talk about flooding, I say it's not about the water. I say it's about the physical, psychological and mental impacts that exist many, many months after the waters have receded. But today, it is about the water. So I'm going to talk about natural flood defence mechanisms. And before I start that part of this, the eagle-eyed Councillor Cullen noted that the last time I was here, that I said to you that DEFRA had dedicated £25 million to natural flood defence mechanisms, and that Trowell had been successful in the application for that. It gave the mistaken view that Trowell had got 25 million, and in fact they didn't get 25 million, they didn't get 5 million, they didn't get 1 million, they got £130,000. But that £130,000 went to great work. Myself and Madam Chair put on our welly boots and we walked to the source of some of the most destructive flooding that exists in Trowell at the Boundary Brook, where the water overflows into Crambone Close and causes misery year after year after year. And we walked up to the top, up to the source, where natural flood defence mechanisms are at their best when you divert volumes of water which would otherwise overwhelm systems. And we saw what was called leaky dams and wetlands. And it looks like somebody had gone up and done an act of vandalism. But it was pointed out to us that this is how it works. You divert the water off into places to stop it running downstream. But then as we went downstream, Madam Chair, almost like a work of art, the boundary brook itself had been diverted into these wonderful meandering canals with great depth and great width. And they had flow of ponds with them and equally well wetlands that had been created. And I thought it was a work of art. And not only that, but we had Storm Claudia. Storm Claudia got nowhere near the houses of Cranbourne because of the beauty of natural flood defence mechanisms, which over the year, when the vegetation grows and the banks become more stable, will become biodiverse and a thing of beauty. And anybody who wants to walk that course with me, and perhaps even the chair, then I would be delighted to invite you to travel to see how beautiful natural flood defence mechanisms are. Thank you. Okay.
I now call on Councillor Lee to speak regarding Council's role in early intervention and prevention of knife crime in your division. Councillor Lee to speak.
Chairman, thank you very much. I'm going to talk really quickly. We keep hearing from Newark and Shire District Council that antisocial behaviour is down in Newark. Well, anybody that's been in Newark recently knows that antisocial behaviour isn't down. Knife crime is up, serious crime is up. Our young people do not feel safe. They don't feel safe. Me and Sam Smith were out about 4 months ago walking through Devonwood, actually Keith Girling's area, where a group of young lads who most people would walk on the other side of the road if you saw them, came over to us and said they did not feel safe. And for that is, we can only do what we can do at the county, right? We've got the youth services, that is a great service. We've been working closely with the YMCA and other services to make sure we can do our bit here at the county council. And we are doing our bit and have been doing our bit for 3 years. However, when the district council are saying that antisocial behaviour is down, it's not helpful to us because we want more funding here. And the only way we can get more funding at the county council is by proving that antisocial behaviour is up. So it's not helpful that the district council are, in essence, not telling the entire truth when it comes to antisocial behaviour and crime. So we need to work with them closely, Mick, and I hope you will do that and work with them closely and actually get them to be honest. But I am actually looking forward to unitary authority on this one alone, because it means that we can sort the issue here because they're not sorting it there. But our young people have to be put first and foremost. And I would say here we are doing that. The district are not being helpful. Thank you very much, everybody.
I call on Councillor Luca to speak regarding Sprightly Sustainable Community Organisation.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Firstly, I'd like to say a huge congratulations to Kay and Michelle on their success in the Newark and Sherwood District Council by-election. I'm speaking on behalf of Sprightly Sustainable CIC, a community-led not-for-profit organisation based in my home ward, Arnold, Nottinghamshire. I urge you today to hear not just the voice of their project, but the voice of our people, our constituents who are stepping forward to reclaim pride in their streets, their towns and their communities. Over the past year, their team has been driving a movement that is already creating a ripple of positive change across the UK. Through community cleanups, greening initiatives, intergenerational volunteering and visible civic action, they are working on the ground to prevent antisocial behaviour and strengthen the social fabric of our neighbourhoods. Their social media presence, powered by everyday local people, has gone far beyond Nottinghamshire. It is being recognised, reshared and praised by councillors, MPs and change makers across the country. But the real impact isn't online. It's in the psychological shift that occurs when a neglected space becomes a cared-for place. We all know that cleaner, greener, well-maintained neighbourhoods deter crime, boost mental well-being and foster social cohesion. This is not just about litter picking, it is early intervention. It is crime prevention. It is a health strategy. It is behavioural change. It is a hope in action. Today, I ask for your support to formally explore a working partnership with Nottinghamshire County Council. Sprightly Sustainable propose to build a safe, replicable model using the foundation of their work, a model that can be rolled out across neighbourhoods, not just in our community of Arnold, but across the whole county. Let Nottinghamshire lead the way. Let this be a case study. Let's show the rest of the UK how civic pride and empowered community action can reshape our public spaces and our shared futures. I ask you today to support and help grow something extraordinary in our community and our county.
I call on Councillor Robertson to speak regarding the anniversary of the landing of the Mayflower.
Madam Chair, I withdrew my constituency speech. Sorry to disappoint. I know people like to hear
Sorry,
it.
I wasn't aware of that. Yeah, shall I? Right, okay. I call on Councillor Siemens to speak regarding crime and antisocial behaviour in Arnold.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to join everybody in congratulating Kay and Michelle on their wonderful victories over in Newark. I campaigned in both wards.
29%.
I campaigned in both wards, and
Win's a win.
I think I was as surprised as the Tories when Castle Ward fell. Stop the clock. There's a bit of a theme here. I too would like to talk about crime in my district division of Arnold North, specifically shoplifting. 15th of October, myself and Councillor Capps went down to a neighbourhood watch meeting where we met with two conscientious and committed members of the beat team, 2 out of a team of 7. They did inform us that very rarely is it fully crewed, and for the foreseeable time it was just going to be those 2 in the division. We asked them what their main issues were. They tell us antisocial behaviour and shoplifting during the day. The following day I thought I'd check some figures. These are the figures for Gedley, not specifically my ward, for August. 602 recorded crimes, 258 violent and sexual crimes, antisocial behaviour of 143 and shoplifting 47. That's 7.8% shoplifting. This didn't seem to add up to what the officers were telling us. The following week, while we were out engaging with constituents, as we went down Arnold High Street, asking to speak to the duty managers of the various retail outlets down there. Without exception, every one of them had issues with shoplifting. On the larger stores like B&M, multiple times a day was quite common. We asked them, what makes a difference? When do you see a fall in shoplifting? And again, without exception, they tell us a uniform on the street. I thought I'll then try and dig a little bit deeper and get some specific figures for our division. This is for October, so last month, in Arnold North. 101 reported crimes, only 2 of which were shoplifting. So something's not right. I then inquired as how this could be, and I have received this email. I'm going to quote to you. This is from Notts Police. The crimes listed relate to acquisitive crime, e.g. burglary, theft and criminal damage. Crimes of a domestic nature, neighbour disputes, employee-employer disputes, and non-payment of goods, e.g. shop thefts, are not included. Madam Chair, how is it you can walk into Boots on Arnold Front Street and walk out with £4,000 worth of stock and it not be considered an acquisitive crime? It is the very definition of an acquisitive crime. I will be requesting a meeting with the Police and Crime Commissioner to discuss this
Councillor,
anomaly.
you have 30 seconds, and I'm very sorry that you were interrupted.
And I will obviously be including Councillor Clark, Councillor Clooney to join me if they wish, as they are Arnold South.
That's quite acceptable.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
I call on Councillor Jackson to speak regarding the 20 miles per hour zone in Southall.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. I know we debated 20 mile per hour speed limits at the last council meeting, which I unfortunately was unable to attend. But what my residents in South would like is a 20 mile per hour zone on two highly pedestrianised roads, King Street and Queen Street in Southwold. Both have lots of bespoke shops and cafes, and not a nail bar or a vape shop in sight. But it is a very, very busy shopping area for both local residents and visitors to the town. Southwold does not have a ring road and was not very well designed for modern traffic numbers. We have looked at pedestrianising the area, but the amount of traffic using the two roads around the town was too high to divert more traffic around the town, which were all very, very, very busy roads. So making them into a 20 mile per hour zone area would hopefully make King Street and Queen Street a lot safer place for shoppers to go about safely on these narrow roads. I'm sure there are many areas similar to this around the county which would benefit from a 20 mile per hour zone. Thank you, Chairman.
I'm afraid we've completed the 15 minutes allowed for this item, so all remaining speeches fall, but can be resubmitted for the next meeting. Item 6A, the presentation of petitions. I was notified of 6 petitions by the deadline. So may I remind members there is a 1 minute time limit for the presentation of each petition, and there is a maximum time limit of 15 minutes for this item. I call on Cathy Mason to present your petition regarding speeding issues on Dalestorth Road, Sutton in Ashfield.
Thank you, Madam Chair. It's just unfortunate I missed out on the last one. I wish to formally introduce my resident petition regarding the urgent road safety concerns on Dalestorth Road in Sutton in Ashfield. We've all got a Dalestorth Road. It's that lovely long straight road where any numpty thinks they can do 90 miles an hour down a 30 mile an hour zone. What the problem is Dalestorth Road has 7 feeder roads to it. So that's 7 junctions for children to be hit. Midway down the road, it turns into a school zone, which does not have a flashing school zone sign. And it feeds not 1, but 2 primary schools, Hill Crescent and Forest Glade Primary. We need a zebra crossing. We don't need fancy push pots. We just need a zebra crossing to break that stretch up. And this is what this petition is asking for, to reduce speeding. We would really like at least one 30 mile an hour speed limit sign on that street, because there is not one at this moment, and it comes from a 50 mile an hour stretch of bypass. People
Councillor
don't realise.
Mason, I'm afraid your time is up.
Thank you.
I'm sorry. I call on Councillor Walker Gurley to present your petition requesting a residents' parking scheme on Dovecote Road. Councillor Gurley.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The petition is for residential parking from Nottingham Road to Lincroft. The petition has received 10 signatories, and as you've mentioned, it's a request for residential parking. Yeah, I'll bring it up to you now.
I call on Councillor Kelvin Wright to present your petition requesting the installation of speed calming measures on Main Road, Netherlangwith.
Madam Chair, I rise to speak on behalf of residents of Netherlangwith. But first, hearty congratulations to Kay and to Michelle. A win is a win. The turquoise tide continues. Now, within Netherlangwith, on the main mile-an-hour road.
These congratulations are completely against the Constitution.
Please stop the clock while I speak on behalf of my residents.
Completely against the Constitution.
Yeah, the road one.
I really think we need to try and get through these petitions, Councillor, so I'm not accepting that. Can we please focus?
How rude. I continue to speak on behalf of residents of Netherlangwith despite the Independent's interruptions. On the 30-mile-an-hour main road through Netherlangwith, residents feel unsafe crossing the bend by Limes Avenue and Brookhouse Court due to speeding traffic. This year on 27th August, a resident's garden wall was destroyed by a speeding vehicle. There have been other multiple accidents, including the council have to replace the metal information point after it too was wiped out. Data records a pedestrian accident in 2020 and a serious casualty in 2022. Significant numbers for a small village. Residents support improved speed awareness measures such as clearer or illuminated signage, though not speed bumps due to lorry noise. They ask the council to consider installing permanent speed calming measures, reviewing and improving current signage and road markings, and adding a second automated speed indicator at the opposite end of the village. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. I call on Councillor Cullen to present your petition regarding overnight parking on Canal Side, Eastern Rylands.
My residents, Madam Chairman, my residents in Beeston Rylands on Canal Side are unfortunate enough to live on a residential street, and on one side of the street there is a canal, and it has been taken over by camper van culture, and people are parking there, having parties, drinking, using drugs, doing all sorts of things. The other side of the road is bungalows, mostly with elderly people. They ask for overnight parking restrictions so that they can get a good night's sleep and not be frightened to leave their own homes. Yeah. Congratulations on the independence of the National Glasgow.
Please. No, you don't. Can we please get on? I call on Councillor Lawton to present your petition regarding the proposed relief access link.
Thank you very much, Madam Chairman. This petition is for 122
Drive to Reynolds Drive.
Right. Thank you, Madam Chairman. This petition is from 122 residents in Farnsfield who are opposed to right of way being forged down Parfit Drive into Reynolds Field, which is a sports area within Farmsville. They're worried about it goes straight past a children's play area, and a lot of the residents are quite used to low traffic levels going down this particular route. The route is being proposed by the parish council, and many of the residents are opposed to the cost and also the impact it will have on those people in the locality. Thank you very much, Madam Chairman.
I call on Councillor Fessio to present your petition requesting the installation of a pedestrian crossing at Stapleford Lane, Towton.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. I present this petition calling for the installation of a formal pedestrian crossing at Stapleford Lane in Towton. It's a very busy and fast-moving road and is a key walking route to George Spencer Academy, used by hundreds of school children every day. There is currently no crossing between the crossing at the tram terminus car park at one end and hundreds of metres at the other end of the road near the junction with Tesco. Many pedestrians try to cross the road and have to chance the traffic anywhere in between these 2 points. There was recently a teenager who was hit by a car, and it's now got to the point where a review of pedestrian safety is needed and a crossing installed.
I ask the Council to resolve that the petitions be referred to the appropriate Cabinet members for consideration, and a report will be brought back to the Council in due course, in accordance with the standing orders. All those in favour? Yeah, thank you. I move that the contents of the report and the actions approved be noted. Item 6B. Responses to petitions presented to the Chairman of the County Council. And I move that the contents of the report and the actions approved be noted. Are there any speakers on this item?
Councillor Smith. Thank you, Chairman, and good morning, colleagues. I just want to take a moment, if I may, to shine a light on the fantastic work that our people servicing departments do. We've just heard this morning from 6 members who have presented 6 petitions, all focused on highway matters. And then we're going to sit here all day for hours and hours with a pack of over 600 pieces of paper, which I'm reassured everybody's read each side of. All based, those 600 pages are all based on some strategic nonsense that may or may not happen if the government pull the plug or not, all in the future. And we're all going to spend hours talking about it, and there'll be 3 people on YouTube, one of them being my mum, watching at home. And the public aren't really interested. What the public are really interested in is the fantastic work that this item 6B reflects on, the fantastic work that councillors do to represent the priorities of their residents, bring forward petitions, and then the departments that don't get enough credit because we're going to spend hours talking about LGR and not highway matters that actually matter to residents. They don't get enough credit, and I think they should. The responses in here are absolutely fantastic. In my division, Councillor John O'Lee and I submitted a joint petition for a resurfacing of a road a few months ago. Bang, we get a response. Yep, we're going to do it and it'll be in the programme. That's fantastic. And the Highways Department that work day in, day out to address the biggest issue that our residents face need the credit and that they deserve. And I think 600 pages on a strategy doesn't do that justice. So I wanted to make that point today, Madam Chairman. Thank you very much.
This to note report has been received by the Chamber, so thank you. Item 7, our Council Plan 2025 to 2029. And I call upon Councillor Doddy to introduce the report and move the recommendations. Councillor Doddy to speak.
Thank you, Chair. I'm delighted to introduce the council plan, and Councillor Smith just missed this one when he got on to the local government and forgot that the most important issue to the people of Nottinghamshire is what we intend to do for them in the next 4 years or so, and that is the council plan. It was an innocent mistake, no doubt, Councillor Smith. Yes, it is a great pleasure for me to actually introduce this plan 2025 to 2029, some 4 years. And it's a refresher of the plan from 2021, which was a child of its time, a post-COVID recovery plan. And this plan is introduced against the background of many changes. The East Midlands Combined Council authorities emerging with the government's 10-year NHS plan to move patients from hospitals to communities, from analogue to digital, and to move from disease to prevention. And against, of course, the background of what may or may not come of local government reorganisation. So it's against those backgrounds and the fact that a lot of the work around those support the work of the council plan itself. This council plan contains our ambitions, our objectives and our priorities in how we can deliver nothing less than the best public services possible to the people of Nottinghamshire. Now, it didn't take a whole lot for us to come up with the concept. What we wanted was stronger families, rooted in communities, in a connected county. Stronger families, where children are brought up in loving, caring environments, giving every child the best start in life, allowing them to take advantage of education and then to be educated for local jobs and to be successful in their lives. Develop resilience, strong, resilient children growing up in our communities. We wanted communities that were safe. We wanted communities where people wanted to live, bring up those families, feel safe, reducing fraud. We wanted families to be able to grow old in those communities. We wanted people to be able to stay in their own homes for as long as possible. We live in an ageing community, and the only way that we as councils and as communities can actually survive is by keeping people in their own homes for as long as possible, dealing with multi-morbidities in people, in the communities, and taking sight of things that happen in Japan through the use of technology. And you'll hear about that later, the use of tech-enabled care, keeping people safe in their homes. And of course, we wanted a connected county. We want a county where people look and say, I want to set my business up there. Look at what they've done to the potholes. Look at what they've done to the roads. Look at the connectivity. Look at the transport. I want to create business there. I want to create jobs there. We want communities and a county that we can be proud of. And therefore, that just sort of flowed. We automatically knew we wanted stronger families rooted in communities, and we wanted a strong, connected county. We didn't just do this in isolation. We looked at the workforce. We asked the workforce what they wanted. We spoke to officers at length. We had a working group where everybody contributed to that group, and we spoke to the public. We looked at the big survey. We did media pulses to young people. We put together all of the information from joint strategic needs assessments, etc., to understand the needs of the community. And that's what we put together. Throughout this morning, you will hear from each of those portfolio holders who were on that working party and contributed with the knowledge that they had of what was best for their portfolio and that they wanted to see reflected in this plan. Now, I've been a little bit spoiled. I had three wishes from the fairy godmother, what would I like to have in that plan? I take my guidance from the NHS 10-year plan, which said we need to move from disease to prevention. And some of you may have heard of the benefits of the fluoridation of drinking water. If not, I'm delighted to re-inform you that dental care and dental caries and dental disease is a great challenge, most to the most deprived people. And correcting that is a correction of a health inequality, and I'm delighted to see that named as something that we will deliver to the people. Number two, I was delighted to see the push for vaccinations, the push to get the herd immunity back up, to stop the outbreaks of measles and to stop unnecessary preventable infections affecting our children as we go forward. And lastly, the third thing that I really wanted to see in there, in addition to that, was the greatest single cause of inequality in our communities as exists, smoking, an effort to reduce smoking in the community. If people in Rushcliffe live 10 years longer than people in Mansfield, 5 of those years, 50% of that entire health inequality is down to habitual smoking. Stopping smoking halves that, other than sanitation and clean water, the greatest single World Health Organization intervention in public health that's possible. So I have been spoiled. All 3 of my aims are in there, and also the aims of the rest of the working group who put their heart and soul into this in order to develop it. I have no doubt that when you look at this document, you'll be saying, well, where is the detail? We made this an interactive document. It's got QR codes. So when you flip on those codes, it brings you directly to the area that you're looking into. If you want to look at what it takes to be a foster carer, it's in there. If you want to know more about SEND, it's in there. If you want to know more about adult social care, it's in there. So this document is an interactive document, which I think is quite unique to actually immerse you into the document in many ways. Ladies and gentlemen, this council is recommended to approve the plan. Be under no illusion that this plan will come under regular scrutiny. People say, oh, you've just thrown out a plan there, Dottie. What's it about? It's about yearly assessment against those very specifically named goals and ambitions and priorities. You'll be able to look at it and say, what have you done about it? Also, we will have in-year assessments like public health outcome frameworks to look and measure us against that. What are we doing with the highways? What are we doing with the roads? What are we doing with the children? What are we doing with adult social care? Ladies and gentlemen, this is more than a simple plan. This is a body of work, and it's a body of work which I'm enormously proud of. 6 months has gone into this, 6 months, and the heart and soul of the portfolio holders is poured out into this document. I recommend this document, and I recommend the programme is measured against its ambitions as set out in the recommendations. This is a fantastic document. Delighted to commend it to the Chamber today and thank everybody who's involved in doing it. Thank you very much.
I call upon Councillor Barton, who will second the motion.
I will second that motion and reserve the right, please, Madam Chairman.
I will now open the debate. Councillor Bruce Lawton, please.
Yes, thank you very much, Madam Chairman. If I was to categorise this council plan, I would put poor effort, could do better. I wrote the last plan, 10 streams within it, set across the council to improve performance. And I have to say, during that period of time over the 4 years, we delivered. The plan was instrumental in delivering the building of new schools. In fact, this building we're in today was a part of that plan. All of the capital receipts that came from this area have also benefited the council considerably. We provided a balanced budget and didn't borrow any money during the 4-year time of that plan. We revamped the young people and adults social services, providing family hubs, particularly in Mansfield, in Ashfield and parts of Bassetlaw, where they were most needed. And in fact, we've seen that this morning with a presentation which has just been given to one of those family hubs, which proves yet again the effectiveness of the previous plan. What it's about doing is reducing demand, and can I suggest, Councillor Doddy, that you follow on down that route. One of our major achievements actually was, and was also part of the plan, was outsourcing the catering department, not removing, but taking away 2,500 staff from our role, which has a significant impact on our bottom line. That is what a proper plan delivers for the people of Nottinghamshire, and did deliver on behalf of our residents. In fact, on your plan, Councillor Doddy, on page 18, you've even taken a picture of a bus with buzz written across the top of it for buzzwords, which is part and parcel of this particular plan. But the real lacking part, or the real area that is lacking as part of this plan, is a discernible way of measuring your performance. Our plan had that in spades. We were able to plan and look at our delivery of service and alter delivery where it was necessary. And this fits in with the modus operandi of this administration. Do as little as possible, create as little aggravation as possible, because our main aim is the 2029 general election. Don't rock any boats. Do not do anything, Councillor Barton, on your strings, puppet strings, that will go down badly with as far as reform is concerned. And we're seeing that impacting itself in areas, particularly in the southern part of the county, in particular the behaviour of Kent County Council. One thing you can be assured of: this group here will look at your performance, this group here will monitor your performance, and this group here will hold you to account every step of the way. You've been living off our budget for the last 12 months, guys. In February, you have to produce your own budget. You will have to live off your own budget and prepare your way forward without piggybacking on the back of what the previous Conservative administration did. That will be your downfall. And I will be holding you to account over the next 12 months as to your performance for the people of Nottinghamshire that we all represent. Thank you, Madam Chairman.
Councillor Green, speak.
Thank you, Madam Chair. My usual approach in life is treat others how you want to be treated and be nice, but I just have to say this quickly. I'm not sure if you've read it, Councillor Lawton. In my working career, not as long as yours, I operate with key performance indicators, so you can track your success. When you have key performance indicator, it identifies that you are data informed and you're tracking according to what your ambitions and successes are. So if you look at the plan itself, sir, if you are listening without being on your phone, if you look on the top right page of each page, it says success means. And if you read each bullet point, it quite clearly states some successes that are tracked via key performance indicators. So I welcome your genuine scrutiny, and it will be great to see the progress of these ambitions moving forward with the officers. I just feel privileged and honoured to be part of the process. This team's been working really hard. I want to publicly honour all of the officers for their hard work in trying to get this communicated to the public, because it's for the public. And what we've seen is lots of people in the past, hence we're here, not sure how they can kind of direct a communicative form of how we're going to help you with a document that is nearly 100 pages long. So we wanted to make it personable to the people out there who are listening, and shorten it down. So that's what we've done. We're honoured to deliver this for the children and families. We want to drive early help as part of people being safe and supported. There's going to be a complete transformation with how we support those families who are in need, who are in crisis, through our front door and via the family hubs, which we thank you for genuinely, for that foundation. So kudos to you. If you look at the page 15, Councillor Lawton, just at the bottom, something that is really, really big on our heart as an administration is more children in our care will live in fostering and kinship carers. So for the last year or so, that hasn't quite been in the right trajectory. So we are going to work our backsides off and use all of those banners that we're putting up as a way to promote and hook people in for the great people of Nottinghamshire to look after our children. We're going to work closely with the third sector. I think that's an exciting movement if you look into the further detail. And we want to say hello to Homestart, who are just over there. There he is. That's the CEO of Homestart. So legends like them go out in the community, and I think the local authorities sometimes don't recognise their work and work with them. And part of this plan is working with the voluntary sector more. These guys stop these families coming into MASH. These guys do the groundwork. So I wanted to publicly honour them as part of our plan today. God bless you all. Thank you.
Councillor Lee.
Chairman, thank you. I wonder what Donald Trump would say about this report. I think he'd say fake news. The truth of the matter is 2025 to 2029. Well, we know that's fake. We know that's not going to happen. Now, I'm not going to go too much into unitary because we'll be talking about that at the next stage. But anybody that has been involved in unitary, John, you were involved in talking about the unitary authority under K. How much time did that take you? And that didn't even happen. It took all your time speaking about unitary. You had no time to do anything else. And we're actually talking that unitary is going to happen. We honestly know that from March onwards, nearly 99% of your time as an authority is going to be speaking to the city about what services are going into the city, because services will start being TP'd over straight after the 2027 unitary election. You'll start TPing services over. So from that point onwards, most of you guys will be out of a job in essence, because your services will be TP'd over from the city pretty much straight away. And my guess is that that the county will be the first one to be TP'd over to the unitary, because it's the easiest one to do, because the service is the service, right? And with districts, you'll have to amalgamate planning committees and planning thingies and all that, work out who's going to, but with the county, it's one service that will go straight across. So from 2027, it will be the unitary authority running it. And it's not really fair that you're saying that this is a plan until 2029, because you need to have a look at the city's plan, especially for your area, John, because your area will be going into the city from 2027 onwards. So what is their plan for your area? Because it's not this. And I think the truth of the matter is your plan should have been 2025 to 2027, because that's what we know for a fact. Your plan reads interestingly, but the truth is what's your budget going to be from 2027 onwards? Because half of your budgets are going to be handed over to the city. This building could go over to the city. County Hall could go over to the city. So where are you going to start establishing your children's services? Which office are they going to be in? Most of your budgets from 2027 onwards, and that's not including the hundreds of £1 that unitary authorities is going to cost you to even set up, is going to be spent on that. And you're either being naive to yourselves, you're either lying, and I don't think you are lying, or you're being just naive to the fact that all your time from 2017 onward is going to be spent on unitary. You're not going to be doing the jobs you're doing because you're going to be handing over to the unitary authority. And all of you are looking at me nodding because you all know it's true. You will be remembered, as a council, you're not going to be remembered for anything barring from handing the service over to unitary. That's all you're going to be remembered for. I'm sorry, but that's the fact. And most of you don't realise yet, and we'll discuss this in unitary, half of you are going to be out of a job. For the simple fact is, we've seen the numbers from 1E from the district council. We go from 45 councils over at Newark and Sherwood down to 9. That's one district. Never mind what we know. So you need to be honest to the residents and say that this plan, just write unitary on it, because that's what all your time is going to be spent on. The service will be the service that we've left you. That will be the service that is still there in 2027. All of your time is going to be on unitary. And I'm looking forward to talking on that at the next point, because then we can get down to the nitty-gritty of what this council is going to have. But please be honest to the residents that all your time is going to be on unitary, handing over services to the city, handing over reduced service to the city. And you should really have the city plan in front of you, because for half of you, that's going to be the plan. Thank you very much.
Councillor Justice.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. It has been my very great pleasure to have been a member of the team which has put this new council plan together. One of the headings in the plan says, rooted in communities, thriving together, which summarises in just 5 words so much of what my portfolio area strives to do. The thread of communities and public health runs through so much of this, our new council plan. And I just want to highlight a few of the areas of improvement which will be happening under this plan in my portfolio area. Under the theme of healthier, happier lives, we plan to work with partners to reduce health inequalities, helping everyone in the county, regardless of their age, to live longer and to enjoy more years in good health. We recognise that in Nottinghamshire, there is currently a 10-year gap for men and a 7-year gap for women in life expectancy at birth. And we know that whilst women may live longer in Nottinghamshire, they can expect to live longer in ill health. Part of the Health Scrutiny Committee's work in 2026 will examine how the council can have an impact on reducing these health inequalities. Our council plan aims to prioritise mental and emotional well-being by working with community partners and support services to boost emotional resilience and to reduce feelings of loneliness and isolation. We have an increasing emphasis in my portfolio area on health, mental health and well-being, and we have some very good examples of suicide prevention work. During 2026, we will be delivering and developing a children's and young people strategy. Reducing feelings of loneliness and isolation is so important to our communities. We promote various programmes which aim to bring communities together and to encourage people to look out for each other. Our partners in the voluntary sector, in the community and in charitable organisations are key to this work, and our new plan will support these partners. Recently, within my own division of Selston, I worked with the communities team to organise a coffee afternoon for residents in a sheltered housing complex, and it's just down the road from where I live. That initial coffee afternoon is the very first step along the way of getting residents who live in small bungalows and flats in that area, getting them together and having them to start their own community where they actually look out for each other. And for me, that coffee afternoon was a great experience. There were quite a few people who'd come along who you could see were really hesitant, and they were thinking, should we really be here? But throughout that afternoon, they changed. They started to talk. They talked about their families and the fact how long they'd lived in the area. And a lot of them had known each other or knew people in that community. And you started to get a real sense that a community was starting to grow. There was an embryo of a community there. And those people can now talk to each other when they pass in the street or the corridors of the complex where they live. And they know each other. Our council plan also seeks to encourage our staff who interact with the public to use their daily conversations to help people improve their health and well-being. Within my portfolio area, we're just about to launch the Making Every Contact Count, which is a train the trainer approach for frontline staff across the system to embed the building blocks of good health in everyday conversations. We want to encourage vaccination uptake to ensure the health of the population is protected. And we want to improve dental health by working with key partners to make sure everyone...
30 seconds,
Council. Everyone in our council area has access to fluoridated water. The North East now has had approval for fluoridation, and we are contributing to a Midlands regional footprint to build the case for Nottinghamshire. Councillor Doddy has been a key advocate for this work. Thank you, Chair. Yeah.
Councillor Stoll.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd just like to ask Councillor Lawton, when he was designing this building in the last plan, did you forget to put a thermostat in here because it's freezing? And also thank Councillor John O'Lee for his nuggets of wisdom that he loves to give us every time. He talks about us being naive, but isn't it your good self, Councillor Lee, that through your own perhaps naivety have been asked to attend some training over at Newark and Sherwood for some repeated breach of conduct? But anyway, I digress. Madam Chair, I'm pleased to support this strategic plan. This is a serious and grounded piece of work, and as Chair of Adult Social Care and Health Scrutiny, I particularly welcome the commitments that put people, dignity and independence at the heart of what we do. What stands out in this plan is its honesty. It doesn't pretend that challenges aren't there, they very much are. Demand is rising, complexity is rising, and expectations are rising. Yet the plan sets out a clear, practical path to support people earlier, strengthen families, and anchor more help in our communities, which is exactly the direction adult social care needs. I'm pleased to see that there's an emphasis on prevention, an emphasis on community-based support, and on helping people live independently in a place that they call home. That's the right approach, because independence is what protects well-being, personal choice, and quality of life, whilst keeping the system sustainable. Madam Chair, the commitment to work more closely with voluntary groups, neighbourhood organisations, and community partners is crucial. These are the people who spot issues early, who know their residents personally, and who often prevent the need for long-term intervention. Strengthening those networks is one of the most powerful things we can do. Equally, the pledge to be open, honest, and better connected with residents matter. As Chair of Adult Social Care Scrutiny, I know how important it is to involve all people with lived experience, carers, older adults, people with disabilities, in shaping our services. This plan recognises that your voice counts, and I welcome that wholeheartedly. Finally, I want to highlight the plan's commitment to a skilled, supported workforce
Adult social care relies on people who show up every single day with compassion and professionalism. This plan acknowledges their role, and that recognition is overdue. So I'd like to thank everybody involved in building this plan. This plan that this administration has put forward gives us direction, clarity and ambition, and practical commitments that will make a real difference to the great people of Nottinghamshire who rely on us the most. I'm honoured to support it. Thank you.
I just want to say, can we all please focus on the report and not on each other? So can we stick to the report?
Chairman, point to respond. I'd like to respond to somebody naming me, I believe.
I'm going to ask Councillor Cullen to speak. So can we take that up another time? Councillor Cullen.
Good idea. People would rather hear from me. Madam Chair. I mean, I love a plan. I love a plan. And I thought when I read this plan, I thought, yeah, but after 2028, when the Nottinghamshire Alliance, probably in coalition with the Greens, is running the county, we'll have a different plan. So if you want to achieve this, you've got to crack on and get on with it quickly. I'm just giving you that advice. However, I speak to you, and my colleague upstairs, the Chief Executive of Home Start, will agree with me on this, because as you probably all know, I'm also the Chief Executive in my other life of a county-wide, very successful voluntary organisation. I read this and I thought that's absolutely great. I'm looking, for example, at page 16, under looking out for each other. We will work with local voluntary, community and charitable organisations to increase community-based, blah, blah. Listen, I can tell you, because this is my job and I know this, and I've been doing it for a very long time, the voluntary and community and charitable sector in Nottinghamshire is on its knees, struggling. If you want an increase, you have got to put your money where your mouth is, because without the funding, there will be no increase. There's a cliff edge of funding happening at the end of next March, where organisations that were previously European social funded, and for the last few years have been sustained with UK SPF funding, and that's finishing at the end of March, a number of organisations will fold in all of your wards, in all of the districts. So it was great that at the last meeting, we voted to maintain the LCF. But let me tell you, if you want more, and I've been filled with joy to hear so many people saying we're going to work closely with the voluntary sector. We've wanted this for years. It doesn't come for free. I need to tell you that. So I'm hoping that you've got a plan for how you're going to pay for that and how it's going to work properly, because you've only got a couple of years before we take over. Thank you.
Councillor Kelvin Wright, please.
Madam Chair, I hadn't actually intended to speak on this item, but this flagship building was mentioned, and I feel therefore there's a couple of points that need to go on the record. I feared that Councillor Stoll was going to steal my thunder, but he stopped with the central heating failures, which was good. In this flagship building from the previous administration, we frequently have conversations that the council chamber is not fit for purpose. I think we just put that on record for the flagship achievement of the previous administration. More importantly, I should put on record, this building is unsafe for women. It breaches the Health and Safety Act for single-sex spaces at work, and if that is truly a flagship achievement from the previous administration, then good riddance to them. Thank you.
Why are you using it then?
Councillor Garland, please, to speak.
Thanks very much. So first of all, Councillor Justice, I agree about
you know, the importance of being rooted in communities. We like the sort of tone of this document, you know, frankly, who wouldn't? I think it's been my priority as a councillor to build communities, and my privilege to see it happen. You know, you can, as you said, small actions can create large amounts of output. I hesitate to say the word, but actually, to me, this is the start of socialism. This is how we build socialism from the bottom up. Don't snigger, it's true. This is what you're talking about. But anyhow, moving on. As Councillor Cullen said, it's really important that there is money behind this to support local groups. We were talking about social prescribing at Health Scrutiny the other day. Without money, social prescribing groups can't work. I am a little bit concerned about the language of focus on families. We have to focus on families. We have to focus on single people, young single people, old single people who are very isolated. So let's not forget those people. I have to mention the environment. So this is a change from the previous administration, which was very green and environmentally friendly. I don't know if you remember that. You do talk about the environment. I know you do talk about it in this document. I don't think there's enough on the causes of the environmental problems we have, and we can argue about the details of the science, but I think we can all agree. You know, I was picking red tomatoes in my garden this weekend. Nice as they are to eat, that doesn't feel right. In my garden, not my greenhouse. I don't have a greenhouse. That's not right, is it? You know, flooding, fires in Nottinghamshire, it's not right. So I think we need to think about the environment more generally, and that means specifically things like helping people insulate their houses so they can be warmer and spend less money on heating. Helping people insulate their houses so they can spend less money on heating, and maybe make sure that we reach all people, because we know that some residents can get support with grants. Some residents can afford to do it, but there's a group of people who cannot afford to do it and who are not getting support. So just support, advice, modelling would be good. I have to say the city provides some of that. I'm also just note that we have a good record on not putting stuff into landfill and a bad record on recycling. Where's it going? Have you thought about where is it going? It's being burnt. It's being burnt in the East Croft incinerator, and it's going all down the Trent. All the fumes are going down the Trent to everybody who lives downstream of that East Croft incinerator. We can argue about what's in those fumes, but there's fumes and there's CO2 coming out of that incinerator. So if we could get away from just burning the rubbish, that would be good. It does heat as well. Thank you.
Councillor Hannah John.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So today I am proud to present our vision for education as outlined in the Nottinghamshire County Council's plan. Our commitment is clear that every child and young person in Nottinghamshire deserves access to high quality education, a sense of belonging and the support they need to thrive for early years through to adulthood. Our priorities begin with early years and school readiness, as outlined in the plan, and we will work with families to improve access to early education and childcare, strengthen maternal health, as Dr. Doddy's already spoken on, and ensure more children achieve good levels of development by the age of 5. This is fundamental for lifelong success. Next, we focus on inclusive education, so we will collaborate with schools to reduce exclusions and suspensions, particularly amongst our groups which require more support. And from Bassetlaw to Rushcliffe, promote inclusion for all. So for children and young people with SEND, we will deliver early intervention, better planning and improved experiences so that every child feels supported, whether in alternative, mainstream or home elected education. We also recognise the importance of successful transitions. Our goal is to help young people move confidently into adulthood, whether through education, employment or training. We will expand opportunities for apprenticeships and adult learning, ensuring that those with SEND, special educational needs with disabilities, just in case, have equal access to pathways that lead independence and success, Madam Chair. Our approach is rooted in prevention, partnership and integration. By intervening early, co-designing services with families, working alongside our schools, our health and police, we will create a system that meets the needs before they escalate. So in this plan, we will also measure success as it's outlined through tangible outcomes, fewer exclusions, more children ready for school, improved SEND outcomes, and higher participation in education and employment. We acknowledge the challenges, lower development levels at age of 5. We also acknowledge that reduced sustained engagement for young people with SEND and that there is limited support for carers. But we are determined to address all of those. So our deputy leader, Councillor Don Doddy, so I should say his full name, and Director of Public Services for Reform and the officers from Transformation have worked tirelessly to ensure this plan is not just a document, but it is a commitment to our children, families and communities that we intend to build an education system that is inclusive, ambitious and focused on opportunity for all. So I welcome the introduction of this plan today and look forward to seeing the video too at some point. Thank you.
Councillor Carr.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. At the outset, I'd like to say that I know that the Reform Group, I know a lot of you. I've got to know more of you as time's gone on, and I've got respect for you. And I consider some of you as friends, and you're very respectful people. But that's Nottinghamshire. That's Nottinghamshire, Madam Chairman. I'm afraid the Reform Party in some other parts of the country don't behave as well as Reform behaves in Nottinghamshire. And seeing as we're actually congratulating people for winning by-elections, I would like to congratulate the Plaid Cymru candidate who won the Caerphilly seat for the Welsh Senate. And this is actually appropriate, and it's to the actually what I'm building a case here. My niece lives in Caerphilly. She's not a political person. She sometimes votes, sometimes doesn't vote, but she left her office in Bath the day before the by-election so that she could specifically make sure that she voted. And I asked her, what drove you to that? And her exact words were, when Reform came into Caerphilly, the atmosphere was threatening, it was aggressive.
Point of order, Madam Chair. Point 70, the member is not speaking to the subject under discussion.
I am. I'm building a case.
Please stick to the plan.
Yeah, okay.
I've asked.
I will. So I've got my point in. You behave yourself here. This is a plan. It's a good plan. The last one was a good plan. The Labour one before that was a good plan because they're blueprints. It's what you do with the plan. And particularly with cohesion on page 64. I've already mentioned that I've got a lot of respect for some people over there, most of the people over there. But I have to say, I've seen Facebook posts, and others of you will have seen Facebook posts from people over there, where community cohesion is the last thing on their mind. So we wait to see.
Stick to the
I'm
point,
talking
please.
about community cohesion, Chairman.
Chairman, point of order. You didn't criticise the council that was criticising me, and now you're interrupting another council. We have to have the same rules for everybody, Chairman.
Councillor Wright wasn't interrupted by you for not speaking to the motion, but there you go. He is a a member of the leading group, isn't he? Cohesion means, Madam Chairman, cohesion which is in page 64 of the report, in case you come back to me, is making sure that all members of our community feel that they are part of that community. That means white people, black people, Asians, men, women, LGBTQ+, refugees and legal asylum seekers, and many more. If you disregard the diversity, you have not got a cohesive community. And you throw me off track, actually, Madam Chairman, which I'm not happy about. I think people out there, the majority of people out there, because you're not the majority, you're the minority, you might have more seats, but you're the minority, will be looking to see what you do on customer cohesion, because what you're doing in other parts of the country does not classify as community cohesion. It's all about ripping communities apart. Thank you.
Councillor Barry Arthur, please.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. I'd like to say, first of all, I was pleased and proud to be working with Councillor Doddy on this plan. Looking at the old plan that was already in place and then thinking, well, we need to improve this. We need to put things back into normal talk with our people that we know and the people that want to be involved with. Councillor Lawton said that they'll be holding us to account. Well, I can assure you, Councillor Lawton, we'll be holding ourselves to account because we're going to make sure it works. So there's no doubt about that. And just looking at the past before we talk about this in the real terms, I think we've got to think about when I took over adult social care as the portfolio holder, the first thing that I'm told is we are £20 million overdrawn from the last administration. 20 million. So we've got to find, before we do anything, try and find 20 million to balance the books, which thank you very much, you left us. We have looked at ways to approve adult social care, and we're continually looking at them. We want to make sure that people, as many as possible, can have their own front door, can stay at home as long as they can before they move anywhere else. That, to me, makes common sense to the people that we're using and relying on for the service of people that we're looking after, and at the same time, saves us some cash, because that's what we have to do as well. We have to be as economical as we possibly can. Fewer adults aged 18 to 64 who have long-term needs, living with long-term care needs and with difficulties. In residential nursing homes, we want to move these people where we can into some sort of supported living. Give them a life, give them something, some ambition, and not just sit there in a chair in a nursing home doing nothing. We've got to support our people. We've got to help our people. We've got to help the residents of Nottinghamshire. And I must say, this report is simply plain talking. There's no jargon in there. It's plain, simple talking. And we want to make sure that all the people in Nottinghamshire can pick this up, they can read it, or they can scan the various codes and find out even more. So it's not just what's in here, it's what's at the back of it as well. And that is important to all of our residents. Our staff here at the council, and when you say people that you don't like it or they're leaving or they don't want, I can assure you the people that are involved in my department and the staff are excellent. Our officers are excellent and our staff are excellent. And let's put it this way, we need the professional people that we've got to stay. So we need to support them and we need to help them. And one of the things I said when I came into this department was, the last thing I'm looking at the moment is getting shut of people. The old saying, no brush sweeps clean. Well, let's assess everything before you do anything. Let's look at everything. Let's make improvement in the service that we possibly can. I think that is our aim and our ambition. Hence the report, this new report that we've done. I think it's really good. We've done a lot of work into it, and we want to make sure that it's a success. And we'll be monitoring ourselves on it, without a question. So I'd just like to say, plain talking, good staff, and support from all our councillors is what it's all about. Thank you.
Councillor Adams, please.
Thank you very much, Madam Chairman. Just want to refer to a few things in the plan. The gentleman over there spoke about keeping the staff. I mean, there's two gentlemen at Bestwood Country Park would think otherwise, who were made redundant. Just going to the further point around the building, I think it's really rich when you've been running the building for 6 months that you've not managed to resolve the issue with the toilets, because I'll tell you something about the issue with the toilets. On the 17th of August 2024, I sat in a meeting with a number of colleagues with the designers of this building as it was going up. And as I looked at the plans for that building, I had a good look around, I recognised that in the middle there was no female and no male toilet. And in that meeting I said right there and then, there should be a separate space. Now that was before it was fashionable and the Supreme Court jumped in and said that we should all protect single sex spaces. That was in 2024. And from that meeting, I was told that would happen. As we know, it hasn't happened. And then, funnily enough, on the 6th of September this year, once again, I raised it. And not just that, I put a post out on Facebook. I'll refer you quickly, though, back to the Evening Post article, if you need a further reference to the 17th of August story, because it was in there as well, where it specifically says, in addition to male, female-only toilets, there will be a unisex facility as well. The idea being that we had 3 of one, 2 of another, and a unisex toilet also. So to sit there and say...
Madam Chair, point of order, is this relevant to the plan?
Yes. I think that's your opinion, isn't it?
I'm asking a question. Apologies for interrupting. I didn't know how the toilets were relevant to the plan.
It's probably because it's your department that you're really going... I mean, if I had a department that hadn't done what it was meant to a year and a half ago, I'd be quite upset as well, I'll be honest. A department that you've been running for 6 months and done nothing about it. And while we're talking about that subject as well, you know, the heating. Okay, if the heating is a problem, do something about it. You know, you won an election, you went and, you know, got people to vote for you. Can slow down if it helps. To get people to vote for you. And then when you get that role, you've got to be prepared to sort the issues out. You talk about a number of fantastic things you're going to do. And I'm really...
Councillor Garland.
Point of information, we do have a really good council chamber, which is nice and warm at County Hall.
Yeah.
Okay, well that was wonderful, and we're going to get that £30 million from that we put into the plan. We're going to get that money from, Annie. Well, we're going to get it from.
Councillor,
it's not behind the socialist sofa, I know that. Look, the reality is this needs to be resolved. So instead of just throwing little childish comments over about what has and what hasn't done, why don't you get onto your colleague and get him to fix it? That might be a solution. And I was told again not very long ago that it was going to be fixed as well, and it still hasn't been done. So you've got the toilets to resolve, and you've got the heating resolved. When's the next council meeting? February. 3 months. You're on the clock.
Councillor Wilmot.
Thank you, Chair. Madam Chair, I wasn't going to speak, but I thought I must now, because of what has been said. The council plan will not work unless you all work together. It's absolutely essential, this is, that you get the right priorities by talking together and making sure that they are right for the people out there. Involving residents. I remember the last time that the residents were asked about a point, a situation. It was a miserable amount of people that got involved in it. We've got to find out a better way you know, to talk to people, get to know what they want, not what we want. You know, it's absolutely essential. We must talk to the NHS, the police, the businesses, the charities, the voluntary organisations. What a wonderful set of voluntary organisations we've got. Lots of expertise. Why aren't we onto them and finding out what they feel? Let's work together on this better, because if we don't, we might as well not be here. It's absolutely stupid. I'd say the churches even, and the amount of community groups. How many of you go to your community groups in your area? How many? Yes, absolutely, very few. I've looked at some of the groups in Nottinghamshire, and they never see anyone at all to talk to about anything. So we've got to get that right as well, all of us. You know, we've got to make sure that member engagement, as I call it, find out what the residents' priorities are. How are you going to do that? You've got to talk out there. You've got to go on the streets. You've got to go everywhere to make sure that the residents' voices are heard, because they are the most important thing in this council. I say backbenchers also. Many of the backbenchers don't feel as if they get involved enough. Help them to get involved. Tell them, give them some substance to sort out in their areas. You know, it's absolutely essential. Every one of us has got something to do and to make a difference with the people that we represent. Very little substance, you know, in your plan, but you know, you haven't been there long, and I'm going to give you every opportunity to put forward the best possible plans. But do ask all of us, all the groups, ask them what their priorities are, rather than just let them stand up and say, oh, this is wrong, and that's oh, yeah. No, involve everybody. It's absolutely essential. Ask the residents. As I say, they're instrumental in delivering the right services. The voices of young people, don't forget them. We must go into our schools and all the places where the youngsters congregate. Get to know what they feel, because they feel at the moment they're not involved at all. So we've got to get everything right in this council. Otherwise, we might as well not be here. Thank you all for listening to me. Thank you.
Councillor Bestwick, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Look, I don't doubt the best of intentions for this Nottingham plan, or the previous administrations, to be honest. And let's face it, it would be strange if you were producing a plan without the best of intentions. I just want to make a small point about KPIs, which came up earlier. I know some of the Reform members run businesses, some of the people on the front bench run businesses. So you will know that a KPI needs to be smart. It needs to be measurable, it needs to be achievable, it needs to be relevant, and it needs to be timed. So I would ask Councillor Doddy, as the author of this report, please refer to it, see if you're happy that what you've produced has those KPIs, and if not, maybe be honest about it, revisit it, let us see some KPIs that meet those criteria, and then I think you'll probably get some more support. Thank you.
Councillor Walker-Gurley.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just wanted to state that the report is not for any of the other councillors in the room. It's not for Donald Trump either. The report is for the people, and Barry alluded to it earlier, or he said it quite clearly. We've tried to simplify this. We've tried to make it talk about the benefits that we offer to the people and keep it focused around that. So, yeah, just keep that in mind. That's all I'm saying.
Councillor Barton, you reserved your right to speak. Would you like to speak now? Oh.
Oh, sorry, Miss Martin. Sorry.
Councillor Wright, sorry, I didn't know I'd missed you.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Thank you. And thank you to everybody who's responded and said what they feel. And I must have, you know, we all appreciate what you've said, and you know, vastly experienced, especially Councillor Lee, who's vastly experienced in the LGR, considering the Conservatives didn't take part in any of the LGR workshops. Thank you for your input today. This is a plan for the future. LGR or no LGR? LGR hasn't happened yet, and with this government, who knows if it ever will happen. This new strategic plan is a reflection of the reform groups and therefore the administration's priorities. It's an ambitious plan, bound together by our collective beliefs around family, community, and in this case, county. The first working group sat back in July and continued to meet regularly after that, culminating in a document which is before you. Each member of the working group added strength to its content. My particular interest and input was around school readiness. As an authority, we need to work harder with the increasing number of children starting school with early development issues. A recent report stated that nationally, as many as 25% of young children aged 5 are starting school with at least one development issue, such as requiring to wear nappies, unable to communicate, and for a multitude of reasons, with their attending school with poor sight, poor hearing, or even speech problems. All issues which should have been identified much, much earlier in the child's life. We need children to fully participate in education from day one and not to feel disadvantaged as they start their long journey through school life. We want to see fewer children suspended or excluded from school, with a real focus on the vulnerable groups. At the first meeting of our working group, I said to officers that I didn't want to see any reference to net zero targets in our strategic plan. Yes, we will work to improve the environment, but without the drawbacks that a net zero target year presents us with. The document sets out our general approach. We will consult closely with the residents. We will champion good health and well-being, education, jobs, and building stronger communities, making people proud to live in Nottinghamshire. We will be honest with the public, what's working, what needs improving, and we will try out new ideas and strive to improve all we do. To finish, my thanks, as always, goes to the officers who helped produce, more than helped produce this document. Their professional skills were well appreciated, and I commend this document, our Nottinghamshire plan, to this council. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. And before I start, I'm going to keep all this positive. I'm not going to keep it negative. This is a positive report, and we're going to keep it positive. I would like to congratulate Kay and Michelle on their winning Newark, and I look forward to working. You can't do that. Well, actually, I can do that, and I've done it. And I look forward to working with them in the near future and helping them. Like I say, I'm going to keep this positive. I would like to thank everybody involved, all the team that's involved with this and the officers, like it's been alluded to. I have got 2 or 3 pages. I'm not going to go through them all because a lot of my colleagues have said it. But this plan does represent a bold and ambitious vision for Nottinghamshire, with the aim of building stronger families, thriving communities, and a connected county, which we all believe in as a group. And we will deliver that. I know we will. And we will keep ourselves under the microscope, and we will deliver what we've promised. And I do agree, Councillor Lawton, it is your job to hold us account. I'd be disappointed if you didn't. To achieve this, we will work with local people, businesses, partner organisations, and to make the most of our opportunities to attract the new investment our county deserves. We will make sure Nottinghamshire has a strong voice and a clear direction under our leadership, whilst improving local services so they are high quality, good value, and meet local needs. We also want to be honest about the challenges we face and be confident in how we tackle them.
empowering this county that has a proud heritage, a very proud heritage, and a positive about what's to come under our leadership. Please take time before lunch to look at this video. I promise it shan't put you off your dinner. It's not long. So please take time to watch it. If you don't watch it, it'll be online later anyway. Sorry? I'm not going to say because it might put you off your dinner. I have got a plant coming out back in my head, so it is worth watching. So, but thank you, everybody, and thanks to everybody that's been involved in it.
I call upon Councillor Doddy for your right of reply. Councillor Doddy to speak.
Thank you very much, Madam Chairperson. Seldom could a summing up be actually longer than the introduction. But such was the level of contribution that I would feel that I wasn't doing people proper justice if I didn't address all of their concerns, etc. I do start off with Councillor Lawton. Poor effort could do better. I think you've seen the effort now, Councillor Lawton, from the portfolio here, the portfolio holders. You've heard the level of dedication that I was working with, which made me so proud to be part of that team. And I think you now, in your own head, you're shaking it, but you know this is an A-star plus performance. We've heard talk about key performance indicators. I know Councillor Beswick talked about SMART, and he did M-A-R-T, but he forgot the first one, S, which is specific. And I was specific about fluoridation, and I was specific about smoking, and I was specific about immunisation, and Rory was specific about carers, and Hannah was specific about scent, and Barry was specific about people in their own homes. I don't know how much more specific you can get. I think that was absolute. So we are smart. Thank you. I'm going to say, Jono, yes, it will take a lot of time, local government reorganisation, and it already has done. But we're going to multitask. We're going to do more than one thing at one time. So I think it'll be really, really good. Councillor Justice, that was just phenomenal. That's exactly what I wanted to hear. Loneliness, isolation, those type of things that you can't really measure, but they're so important to people. To see them recognised, absolutely fantastic. It's an honest report, Councillor Stoll, exactly what you said it was. Councillor Cullen, you mentioned the Greens and the independents running the country. You will be delighted to know with that level of delusion, we're putting a lot of money into mental health. I do think, Hannah, that the idea of school exclusions is so important for the people that have so much need. To find that they're excluded and excluded from the very help they need. Never was a case more important. We need the people who are being excluded to be pulled back in. Inclusivity, no child left behind. That's the whole ethos of it, and beautifully put. Barry, of course, if we don't look after the elderly and keep them in their own home, if we don't actually manage the demand of an ageing population, and we've got one of the oldest populations in the developed world, then that's where the big danger lies. It's an open and honest report. I don't know what to say about the toilets, Councillor Adams. I found that they flushed really well, that's all I can say. Oh, Councillor Wilmot, I do love you. You're my favourite. You do have such passion. And I know that you are rooted in your community. You epitomise everything that we try and say about a councillor. You are the archetypical councillor that anybody would love to have in their area. And I admire your contributions. They're always there. Ladies and gentlemen, there is a phenomenal video coming up. I mean, it is the first one. I suspect it'll turn into a series. I mean,
Netflix.
This is the first one. They always put out a little trial video to see how the public react to it, and then if they really like it, it turns into a long-running series. So, ladies and gentlemen, I think this was one of the most phenomenal debates, and it shows the interest that we have in the social plan. It was fantastic. There was a huge number of people speaking to it, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. And all of this is for the benefit of the public of Nottinghamshire. Thank you all very much. Thank you, Madam Chair.
I will now put the motion to the vote. So all those in favour, please show. I think that is unanimous. You can put your hands down.
That's good.
I think it's okay. I think it's time for lunch now, folks. So
Thank you.
1 hour.
1 hour. Yeah. Thank you, Madam.